Late night boxing talks. Talking about the late night boxing talks. Yeah, I wasn't even going to do this. I had an episode of the relay I was working on, but figured I'm not going to be able to get it out as quickly as I want to, so I think I'll just jump on live, shoot the shit. And I seen that Sergey Kovalev, he going to fight Fang Long Ming. It's a cruiserweight fight. Supposed to be on who hitting me up, man? Who texting me at this ungodly hour? Oh, it's drama. It's drama. Oh, it's drama brewing. I was goody que lo que Steve Munoz. George, the last Patriot. Appreciate you, bro. James Jackson in the building. Alex Slavak Sing Bodega con el gatico. Que lo que Tyrion Falk, Willie Lynch, the fuck. What's good, y'all? Yeah, we out here, man. So I saw this Sergey Kovalev. Let me just handle this. I'm trying to text the homie. But yeah, yo, appreciate you, Willie Lynch. And yeah, man, I checked the news and I saw that Sergey Kovalev has a fight coming up with Fang Long Meng in the cruiserweight division. I have absolutely no idea why Fan Long Meng is taking this fight. He's an unbeaten light heavyweight, a southpaw. He was in line to fight for I believe it was the IBF title not that long ago. He was actually Better Beef's mandatory once, but some things happened and that changed. And now he's fighting Sergey Kovalev at cruiserweight. For what amount of money, I don't know. It's not a Golden Boy Promotions fight. It's a Triller fight. And I'm just like, yo, I don't know why when I seen the shit, I immediately started laughing, yo. Immediately, I started laughing. The shit is wild, B. But yeah, yo, chilling, talking to the homie, the online trolls. Earlier today, I was on Twitter, and me and shout out to shit, yo, I really forgot his fucking name, but we was talking about the Bivol fight, the Canelo versus Bivol fight, right? And we was just shooting the shit, talking about why it's a good fight, da 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 da. And then come these two guys, man, and they start poo-pooing all over the fight. They start talking about Charlo. They start talking about Benavidez. Shout out to Drew, man. Drew is in the building. Started each live. We need ring uninterrupted for 5-7 minutes. Hell yeah, I got some things on the chest. Talking to the homie right now. To the homie, if you listening, yo, don't feed the trolls, man. Talking to the homie. But yeah, so he was talking about Canelo versus Bivol and just what makes it a good fight and what we expect from Dimitri Bivol in the fight. What are the difficulties that he's going to pose for Canelo Alvarez? And these two random guys, they got like these two random guys. They come in, they start talking about Charlo like they really was trying to lay a guilt trip that we not mad that Charlo did. I'm like, yo, dog, like, why y'all always try to tell people what y'all think about boxing? See, I know what the fuck going on. I know what's going on because I have touched on it in the past. That I'm like, what you really mad at, never mind the boxers and the boxing because you're not focused on the boxing. Your whole thing is some other shit. And I'm looking and I'm like, yo, you really sitting there trying to argue with strangers that are halfway across the world over what they like about a boxing match. I know what you mad at. What you really mad at is that don't nobody give a fuck about you. They don't give a fuck about your opinions. They don't care what you think about boxing. So you got to bring that to somebody else because it's like ain't nobody checking for you. Ain't nobody checking for what you think about boxing. Shout out to my man Bass the Kid. Yo, tell me how that Batman was. Was it good? Was it bad? What was it? Did anybody else know that Canelo is 5'7.5"? How can this not be Canelo's hardest fight, fighting a slick Russian who's 6 feet tall? I thought Canelo was 5'8". Yo, I'm trying to tell you, yo, Canelo is a little stumpy dude. He's a strong dude, but he's a little stumpy dude. He's not a big guy. And a part of what makes the Bivol fight such a good fight for me is that this guy's durable. I know that because I've seen his contests at light heavyweight. So I know that he could take a hard shot and he won't go down. I know that he has movement. I know that he has speed in his feet, speed in his hands. He got a good laser jab. He's accurate. He could fight on the fly, has some power, even if he's not the biggest power puncher. There's a lot of ingredients there that make it a very intriguing fight. And we was talking about that on Twitter where all this goofy shit goes on. And these two guys come over, they start trying to why you don't want the American to get the fight? Well, yo, we wasn't even talking about them, bro. Like, the fuck? Wasn't nobody talking about them guys. And that's what you're mad at. That ain't nobody talking about them guys. At the end of the day, like, I was going to do a video, and I'm probably still going to do it just to condense my thoughts on this, because when you're shooting the shit kind of all over the place. But I was going to make a letter to Canelo's critics. That was going to be the theme of the video. Mulling over all the different reasons that nobody gives a fuck what you're talking about. Nobody gives a fuck about none of that shit you saying. And how these guys have to go above and beyond to try to get the paying public's attention, because they starting to realize what I've been saying. You can have 44,000 views on a video here on YouTube where you shitting all over Canelo Alvarez. You can have 100,000 views on YouTube with that kind of content and that kind of video. You can have that, but the reality is that that does not represent the paying public in boxing. YouTube is free. Boxing is not. And the people that go for that and make those videos, you don't represent the sport of boxing. Because when I look at the sport of boxing and the metrics associated with the sport of boxing, what I see is that the paying public is on his side and they're not on your favorite fighter's side. And that's really what's eating you up. That's really what's bothering you. That don't nobody give a fuck about none of that shit you talking about. Nobody give a fuck about none of that. You want to blow Sergey Dedevianchenko out of proportion for the simple fact that Charlo fought him. Not even on no boxing shit. You only bigging him up because Charlo fought him. Never mind that Jacobs beat him first. Never mind that he had a war with Golovkin where he got dropped. Never mind that he sat out for a year. Never mind that he lost every step-up fight that he ever had. Every single step-up fight he ever had, he lost that shit. The only reason you trying to blow smoke up people's ass about that guy is because Charlo fought him. The exact same shit that Wilder's fans was doing with Luis Ortiz. They're like, yeah, it's a good win, but don't blow it out of proportion. That's what y'all doing with that. And what bothers you is the rest of the world and the rest of the boxing fans, they don't fall in line with that shit. Like, bro, you're not fooling me, bro. You're not going to make him interesting. I wanted to see that fighter in fights that he don't want to be in. You think it's cool for him to not do shit and wait for Canelo. But the rest of everybody, the majority, don't think that shit is cool. And that's why they don't fuck with him. And ain't shit you say on Twitter or ain't shit you say on your YouTube channel gonna change that. Nothing is gonna change that. You could get 44,000 views for that kind of video. The real fight fans that pay for boxing, you don't represent them. And that's what bothers these guys. That's why they go above and beyond and out of their way to fucking argue with people. Because I'm like, yo, what is this uptick of arguments and people trying to have arguments that I'm seeing? And it's not a coincidence that it's correlated to the most recent announcement of Canelo Alvarez's next fight. As soon as that fight got announced, a lot of people started melting down like an ice cream cone in the summer. They losing their mind. He not fighting Charlo. He not fighting. Who fucking cares, bro? You know, I caught the highlights of his last fight because I didn't watch that shit. I didn't care about that shit. You need to start charging these clowns for therapy. Yo, real facts, B. Murata in Japan is like Goku or Spirit Bomb. Yo, listen. How long have I been saying here on this channel that Murata is a major player in the middleweight division, whether the people in the West want to acknowledge it or not? whether the people in America want to acknowledge it or not. Murata is a major player. It's major money. Lo and behold, Golovkin chose him over Charlo. Why? Because of what I've been saying, man. He's a major player. He has an audience. And you have not done nothing to get people's attention. Motherfuckers want to do all these mental gymnastics and all this goofy whataboutism shit. Yo, dog, you lucky that motherfuckers is even explaining it to you, because the reality of it is I don't got to sit here and break down why I don't think Charlo's this and that. I don't have to do that. All I have to do is buy the fights I want and ignore the fights I don't. The only reason I do it is because I turn over a profit to do it, being honest. The only reason I'm doing it is because, well, it makes me some decent money, so why the fuck not? But the average other motherfucker, man, I don't got to sit here and argue with you about a fighter that you like. That's your motherfucking problem. I don't care about that shit. Yo, Nikita Zoo is the truth, B. He beat the fuck out of that guy, bro. He beat the fuck out of that guy, Liam. Nikita Zoo debut win last night. Tim is going to the U.S. March 27 to bash up Cachet. May 11, Super Mario will be bashed up by Opataya. Yo, I just seen the poster, bro, that Jay Opataya going to get the fight. I want to watch a couple of Jay Opataya fights because you've been telling me about him and I heard about him. I watched Nikita Zoo's. I watched a couple of clips of Nikita Zoo's pro debut. That kid looked the business. That was his first pro fight, but that kid looked, he got it. He fucking got that shit. And I'm going to be following him too. I'm going to be following his career. He a junior middleweight, the same as Tim. So that's going to be some interesting shit. But yeah, yo, it was an argument that just dragged on and on and on. And I'm like, yo, dog, how you really mad that we sitting here talking about a fight and because we not talking about them? It's because we not talking about these cats that you mad. And motherfuckers say, listen, man, they need to fight each other. That's the last thing they want to hear. But yo, they need to fight each other. Bro, you're not going to get my money till you do. Period. I don't got to explain it. I don't got to sit here. You know, like, I don't have to actually sit here. Oh, his resume. This fight. I don't have to do that, bro. Like, I literally do not have to do that. It's a courtesy to do that. It's just a courtesy. At the end of the day, it's much more simple. I pay for the fights I want to see, and I don't pay for or don't patronize the fights I don't want to see. It's simple. Same as the shit with Davis and Cruz. I didn't buy that. Davis and Santa Cruz. I didn't buy that. When they come out with Davis versus Romero, I'm not buying that shit. Are you nuts? I'm not buying that shit. No fucking way. Virgil Ortiz fans fear boots. I don't know. Maybe they do. I want to see them fight. Why not? I don't expect it to happen because of the politics, but I don't know. Let them fight. I don't give a shit. Their favorite fighters aren't fighting that often, so they need to kill time by complaining about fighters that... Yo, thank you for that comment, because doesn't that put everything in perspective? Canelo Alvarez fought more times last year than Jermall Charlo, and Canelo Alvarez has already arrived at his next opponent, another unbeaten champion, before Jermall Charlo. And motherfuckers really sit there wondering, why don't nobody give a fuck about these fighters? Well, shit like that is why. You fought once last year in a fight that didn't nobody give a fuck about. That's what you did. Who the fuck do you expect to be excited about you? You could have fought Andre. I say it all the time. You could have fought Andre. You didn't want to do that. Okay, then who do you expect to give a fuck about you and what you doing? Andre versus Charlo on pay. Yo, I'll pay. You know what I'm saying? Put it on pay-per-view. I'll pay. But you don't want to fight shit. All right, then what the fuck am I going to watch you for? You think I want to watch Jermall Charlo go 12 rounds with Montiel? No. It's fucking late, bro. I'm old. Shout out to HCP, Hispanics causing panic in the motherfucking building. Canelo said to Korean Cassell he don't care what Tyson or Floyd said about who he fights. He don't even know who these broke dudes who think Charlo threat is. That's the fuck I'm talking about, B. That's the fuck I'm talking about, son. I'm like, yo, you think that Canelo worried about yo, they know what the metrics are, behind the scenes, behind the curtain of boxing, and everything that just goes on backstage. Motherfuckers know them ain't no paper in them motherfuckers. Like, I ain't trying to say it's all about money, but I'm like, yo, you gotta be real with shit too. Look, what the fuck is supposed, and this is where it's a courtesy. When I go as far as, okay, let's entertain it. In what way is Jamal supposed to be a bigger threat than Bivol? In what way? I just saw you go the distance with some nobody ass motherfucker. And even if you want to say that Bivol went the distance his last couple of fights, yeah, B did. But he's a fucking light heavyweight. You a middleweight. You a middleweight, bro. What you trying to convince me? That he gonna knock out Canelo where he couldn't knock out Montiel, where he couldn't knock out Adams, where he couldn't knock out Korobov. The last dude he knocked out was Hennis Dogan. And you want me to believe that, oh yeah, he a threat. Man, get the fuck out of here, man. Shit don't make no sense. Like, the hate is at an all-time high. It's coming from all directions. And if you notice that I allow the when we're here live and I'm shooting the shit, if you notice that I allow it to drift into that subject often, more and more often, it's because that's what's dominating the conversation right now. That's what I see people complaining about. That's what I see people talking about. So it needs to be addressed. That if you want to be real and you want to have that discussion, listen, man, if you don't like Canelo, you don't like boxing. I'm sorry, I'm going to put it straight like that. If you don't like Canelo, you don't like boxing. I don't want to hear your convoluted arguments and your mental gymnastics. He's fighting more champions than whoever your favorite fighter is. He's fighting more often than whoever your favorite fighter is. Simple. It's none of this shit. It never has to be complicated or convoluted. It's simple. Motherfuckers like that motherfucker because he fighting a lot of champions, because he fights often. It's not complicated. You want these people to like your favorite fighter that much. And the reason they don't, well, let's see. You don't fight that much, and when you do fight, don't nobody know who are you fighting, bro? Say his name number. I'm going to let Hayam join the conversation because Hayam was here last night, but he ain't get to say a lot. I want to talk to Hayam. I don't want to see 10 people in the background. Let me get Hayam in the building. We're going to switch it up tonight. We're going to kick the shit, shoot the shit, and talk the shit. You know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers is playing these games. I seen a dude yesterday say, oh, Canelo don't never want to fight the people that people want to see him fight. If that's true, then why is he outselling your favorite fighter, man? Make it make sense. If he don't fight people that people want to see him fight, why did he break the attendance record? Why didn't your favorite fighter break the attendance record? Why didn't your favorite fighter's pay-per-view do what his pay-per-view did? Make it make sense. Your Canelo bodyguards. Your bodyguard. Name bodyguards, motherfucker. It's not complicated. It's entertainment. Now, I'm going to shoot the shit with Hayam real quick so y'all cool out. Hayam. Motherfucker. It's not complicated. It's shit. Entertainment. Shit. What's goody, Hayam? Hayam muted his mic. We're going to shoot the shit with Hayam real quick. Y'all cool out backstage, B. Hayam, what's good, man?
You can hear me now?
I can hear you now.
I was hearing what you were saying about Canelo. They got to stop with the BS when Canelo. They know he the number one fighter, man. Come on, stop the BS. They not doing what they supposed to do. Benavidez is not fighting. Andrade, I give him his respect. He tried to make the fights.
See, I'm with you with Andre. I can't hold Andre responsible for the motherfuckers because Gennady ducked him to me in a capacity. If you sit out a whole year when you got a world champion on your side of the street, and you know DAZN would have paid for this shit, so let's not let's not be stupid. Like, yeah, they would have paid you good. If they paid you good for Steve Rose and Sergey, they would have paid you good. You just didn't want to know. You wanted to
I
wait.
agree. I
And
agree 100%. I agree with what you're saying 100%. Charlo, these guys they gotta step up. Did you see the interview from Benavidez' father, Benavidez Senior?
listen, Hayim, I seen an interview
Oh
where he
man.
said, listen, they asked him
Oh
about
man.
David Morrell. They asked him why he said 5 fights. I'm like, yo, come on. And this is the guy we supposed to think is a boogeyman. You need to wait 5 fights to fight David Morrell, but you supposed to just get fast tracked to see, fuck I don't got time for that shit.
That's disgraceful. I thought they didn't want to throw Samson Lukowicz under the bus, but they did basically throw him under the bus. They said that number that he mentioned was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. Like they should have fired him off of that. Off of that one interview, they should have fired him. David Benavidez doesn't know what he's doing. He's an idiot. He's not paying attention to the sport. If David Benavidez was on point, what he would be doing, he would be focused on only one fight. There's only one fight for David Benavidez right now. If he wants to get on the right hand, legacy and all of that, and then on the left hand, payday. There's only one fight for him, and that's the Joe Smith fight. That's
Listen,
the only fight that's important for him right
listen,
now.
you know what the shit is? See, I try to work within a parameter to where things are realistic, right? So I think about a Smith fight and I'm like, look, man, he would have to go through Top Rank for that. And I already know, well, that ain't gonna motherfucking happen. So what is real and what is realistic? Now, you done been going through it with Charlo since 2020, bro, and you still ain't get that fight, right? You because that's when it started in March of 2020 when Charlo said, "Yo, I go up there and knock his ass out." That's what he said, and whole motherfucking year and a half go by, he ain't go nowhere, and he still ain't about to fight you, right? And you just gonna sit there and take it. That's what you doing. You let you
But
let
my situation, my problem, Julius, is this. Just hear me out. Um, there's only one fight for David Benavidez if you're smart. If you're running your business like a smart business, Joe Smith Jr., because of the Ukraine situation and everything, and then not sanctioning the belts and all of that stuff,
mm-hmm.
that's the only smart fight for him to pursue. Forget David Lemieux. Forget all of that. If you fight Joe Smith Jr. right now, you step ahead of Canelo. You're ahead of Canelo. Canelo is fighting Bivol. He's going to go and try to be undisputed at 175. So now you fight um the guy I just said, Joe Smith Jr. Fight him, get that belt. If you could beat Joe Smith Jr., because David Benavidez is not a 168-pound fighter. In case people don't notice that
Real
he fought
shit,
his last fight at 169.
real
So
shit.
fight fight Joe Smith Jr. at 175. Get that belt so you have something that Canelo actually wants
But here's the
when you're in
problem, bro.
train.
He can't
Uh,
see this. The shit he can't. It wouldn't. It this why it won't work. Yard got dibs, bro. Yard has dibs.
no, I heard about that. I heard
Bob
about that.
Bob promised. Look, Bob told him the
Yeah,
winner of
Bob
Smith.
said whoever the winner of that Joe Smith um Baturbia fight will fight Anthony Yard.
So
I
now
did hear
you
about
so
that.
now put your thinking cap on. We know that the
Mm.
WBC, the IBF, and the motherfucking WBO, they said we ain't gonna sanction no Russian nothing. So better be he in limbo. If the plan was for the winner of the fight to fight Yard, who is Smith gonna fight now? Fucking Yard. Until they lift that shit and change that shit, yo, that fight is already en route as far as I'm concerned.
But you still on schedule. Look, check it out. You still on schedule. All right, so let's say that's the fight. The Joe Smith Jr. versus Yard fight. Let's say that's still on route. So you could fight Lemieux. They fight their fight, and then you could fight the winner.
Not
If
because of the politics,
all
though, bro. The politics. You think that Bob, this the shit. Bob ain't just gonna give him. That's an opportunity that you have to be given. Like they would have to be super.
but it's a big fight.
But
It's a
it's
big
not
fight. It
really.
makes money.
Yo, I'm not even gonna hold you. That fight can make money. You right.
Yeah, come make
You
money,
right.
man.
But Yard versus fucking Smith in the UK makes money, and it's still within the network. That's one of Frank's
Yeah, but
boys.
they don't. I'm saying let's give you that fight. I'm saying let's give you that fight.
Look, I'm not
But
listen. I'm not against the motherfucking shit. All I'm saying is, yo, being realistic, it won't happen, bro. Because look, he let Canelo take the plant fight away from him. You was already
I
there
know that
with a belt, and you let
he
that
gotta
happen.
wake up. He gotta wake up. He done fucked up about 2 fights already. He done fucked up about a good 2 fights.
Three,
So
my God.
now,
Three,
yeah,
my God.
yeah,
Three
yes,
fights.
3. You're right about that. But now give the guy a chair. All right, now if you jump ahead of Canelo's agenda, that's what I'm asking Benavidez to do. I'm asking him to jump ahead of Canelo's agenda and meet Canelo before he even gets there. Go and fight Joe Smith,
I
get the
agree.
belt because you're really a 175-pound fighter.
And everybody
Go
know it.
and say it one more time. I'm sorry.
Everybody know it. He a light
Yeah,
heavyweight, bro.
he's a 175-pound fighter. So now jump ahead of Canelo's agenda because you already fucked up at 168 and missed that agenda. So now jump ahead of it this time. Fight um Joe Smith Jr. at 175. Take that belt from him. Now you got something. Once everything is restored back to normal order, but Turbiev is there. You can fight him or you can fight Canelo. And now you get money. Now you got 2 hands on the deck. You got I want to just make money for my family, and you got I just want to make legacy. So
Look,
you got both of those hands on the deck.
in an ideal world, yeah, but you know, like, bro, you done all
I know,
like
but I'm
think like
saying,
look how you gonna let the motherfucker, right? Like you could probably get maybe 3 to 4 M's fighting Andre. You could, but you gonna let
Andre don't do it for you right now.
no,
I don't even care about the Andre
no,
fight.
no,
It don't
just
do it
offer
for
the
you.
bread. No, but just offer the bread. Just offer the bread because
Oh, for the bread, yeah, yes, you're correct.
not
You're
nobody
correct.
gonna convince me that he getting 2 and 3 mil to fight Ronald Ellis and Kyron. No
Oh no,
way,
he
bro.
getting up.
Ain't
He
no
getting
way they give you.
750. He
You know what I'm
getting
saying?
750.
If that. So I'm like, yo, for the bread, if it's for the bread, you fight Andre and you take care of him. Why? If you can knock this guy out and finish him, that's better for you and your profile than what you've been
It
doing. You
does it does speak volumes. But
ain't
the
right.
only fight that if you are David Benavidez right now and you are really focused on making money to secure your family of financial freedom, the only fight that makes sense to you right now, think about it. We just got the Ukraine war and all that stuff. The only fight that matters right now is the Joe Smith Jr. fight. That's the only fight that
It won't
matters.
happen, bro. Like look, I'm telling you right now, this is what
He
they
needs to
do.
leave the PBC. They're
Of
garbage.
course,
There's
bro.
nothing
Of
there for him.
course. Like I'm all the way. Like I look. How long have I been like? I'm like, yo, dog. They gonna ruin him. They gonna ruin his career. Period. That's what they doing. See, look, Charlo
Yeah,
don't
they're
want them.
ruining him. You're right.
Charlo
They're
don't.
ruining him.
Charlo don't want them fights. That's cool. Fine. You don't want them fights. You happy with the stipends? Cool. But David, I remember they did an interview with David when it was still hot outside, like last summer. That motherfucker looked pressed, like he was mad, like motherfuckers keep that. Hey, bro, then what you gonna do about it? You gonna just sit there and let them fuck up all these? They fucked up 3 fights for you, bro. They fucked up
Yes,
the fight.
yes,
They not
yes.
gonna make the Charlo fight, and Eddie want to give you Andre, but here comes Samson again. Fuck, like, bro, ain't nobody on this
Samson is
planet,
horrible.
and you gonna let him do it though. You gonna let him do it.
Yeah, that's where David is fucking up. That's what I'm trying to say. Like if it's clear to all of us. Like we're just boxing fans watching the fight, watching boxing and stuff. But it's obvious. Like you have to you fucked up because you were in the path of Canelo.
Yep.
You fucked up and threw yourself off the path of Canelo. So now you got to get yourself back on the path of Canelo because you want to secure your family's financial freedom and you want to secure some type of legacy. So now, what you got to do is you got to get yourself back on the path of Canelo. The path of Canelo, if we all see he's fighting Bivol, he's going to take that title, and then he's going to go for undisputed. So now the other branch of that is Beterbiev and Joe Smith. So now if you just that fight broke apart because of the Ukrainian situation, okay? So now if you just fight Joe Smith and take that belt from Joe Smith, you put yourself directly in the way of Canelo. He can't dodge you no more. If you saying he dodging you,
it's just, look, I'm with the plan. It's not even that I'm not with the plan. It's that when I think about the plan, bro, that shit is so far-fetched that it won't happen, bro.
I don't think. Listen, I'll disagree with you on this. I don't think it's far-fetched only because we just saw proof of it occurring. He went to 168 and he cleared out the entire division. Him fighting Caleb Plant was kind of far-fetched because of PBC and the zone and all that shit.
True.
So we thought that it was far-fetched that he was going to get the Caleb Plant fight because
Benavidez don't got the juice to move like that.
Wait, say it one more time. I'm sorry.
Benavidez don't got the juice to, Canelo did that. You right. And
but I'm saying is that Benavidez juice don't really matter. Caleb Plant's juice didn't matter. Caleb Plant was nobody when he fought Canelo. But what I'm saying is that because Canelo is aiming for it, it becomes real then. You see what I'm saying?
I see. Look, you saying that if he get the belt, he puts himself on the path of Canelo Alvarez. What is the problem? Yes. Now, here's the moving parts that need to be addressed. First, we don't know what the fuck his contract with Samson looked like, bro. We don't. We don't know that, right? But let's hypothesize, for argument's sake, that somehow, some way, with the strength of Jesus,
he could be a free agent.
What the problem becomes then? All right, now you got to go to Bob and you got to tell Bob, yo, give me Joe. Even if Bob is willing, you still gonna need Joe LaGuardia and Joe Smith to be on board with the plan. And they gonna be like, well, what the fuck do we get out of fighting him?
He don't got no belt. He don't got anything to bring.
You're right about that. I ain't gonna lie. You're right about that. There's no reason to fight David Benavidez, but at the same time, you do make a good. It is a name. It is a name.
But
who the fuck else was Joe Smith gonna fight? Think about it like this.
Think about it like this, Chaim. If Joe Smith, Irish guy, goes to Britain and fights Anthony Yarde, Irish versus English, you know how much money that would be making? Probably. They go to Arsenal's pitch and everything.
Is it bigger than David Benavidez?
Yeah.
No. I'm gonna be real. No. I'm gonna be real with you, right? Look. If you do, and I'm with Chaim on this. If you do that shit with David in Arizona, because he got a lot of fans in Arizona, he moved tickets down there fighting fucking nobodies. So just imagine if he was actually fighting for a belt.
You have to understand this. Anthony Yarde has a profile.
That's true.
But so does David Benavidez.
He signed Adidas, bro. I remember. You don't remember the photo was him with
Here's the thing.
Chaim, did you see Cyborg with Van Damme?
Yeah.
Tell me Anthony Yarde don't look like the dude he fought.
Here's the thing, Chaim. You're wrong in the sense that the only fight that matters for Benavidez to get Canelo is going after Zurdo. Because after Zurdo, let me finish.
Go ahead. I'm listening.
The floor is Drew's. Nobody talk.
Benavidez going after Zurdo gets Mexico involved. It gets the Mexican fans involved. They're the majority of the ones paying for Canelo's pay-per-views. The winner of that fight will pressure Canelo on Mexican machismo alone then he has to take that fight.
That's a strategic move.
Zurdo has a number one spot in the WBA ranking.
But it doesn't get
you're
him
not
the
listening.
actual result.
What matters more to Canelo, the belts or the Mexican fans?
Listen, let me help Drew. Listen, Drew, Chaim, let me say this. Look, this the thing, right? None of these guys can hit Canelo in the pocket. He doing his numbers. He doing his numbers regardless of them because the fans is not behind them, so they can't hit him in the pocket. That's why he eventually ended up fighting Golovkin, because his sales was dipping. He did 900,000 with Cotto, 600,000 with Khan, and only a little over 300,000 with motherfucking
Jr.
With Smith. With Chavez, he did numbers. But the thing is,
Chavez a million pay-per-views.
With Chavez, he did numbers. But by the time he fought Chavez, the fight with Golovkin was done. It was done. Why you think he remember Golovkin? You are next, my friend.
Yeah, you are next, my friend.
Jules, you think Canelo wants to walk around Mexico, San Diego with all the Mexicans talking to him in Spanish? When you gonna fight the winner of that fight?
Think about it like this.
I don't think Zerto is as big as y'all think he is.
It doesn't matter. He's Mexican. When
one at a time, Chris, go ahead. Chris, go ahead.
You remember Laura, right? You remember when Laura pressed him like that. So at the end of the day, Canelo's a very prideful dude. So think about it. Whether it be Zerto or David Benavidez, I beat this dude. Let's do it for Mexico. I'm more Mexican than you. And you know Canelo, Canelo has a vindictive side to him. So all right, cool. Let's do it. Because at the end of the day, what Hayam said at the Joe Smith thing, in a perfect world, that makes a lot of sense. Because I put in there, I put that because at the end of the day, if Canelo becomes 2 times undisputed, nobody can say anything, bro. Because real talk,
exactly.
But like you know how the moving parts is, and a lot of those dudes on the PBC, let's really keep it a buck. They're not highly intelligent. So at the end of the day, they probably signed something really.
And I'm gonna tell you right now.
No, wait. Let me say this.
Let
me paint this picture for you, Hayam. Imagine Canelo going to the food truck. He hungry. He a man of the people. Like, he rich as fuck, but he's a man of the people. That's facts. He go to the truck. He try to get some fucking carnitas. Yo, when you gonna fight Zerto, Holmes? Or when you gonna fight Benavidez, Holmes? If they fight, the pressure.
I hear you.
And that's in Spanish. You gotta say it in Spanish, Jones.
But
you gotta say it in Spanish.
This is the problem. This is the inner workings of the Mexican culture. That's the Zerto fight. What I'm saying is this. My problem with the PBC fighters and especially David Benavidez right now is there is a freight train that runs in a straight line. That freight train is going from 168 to 175, and it's already stopped at Bivol. Already stopped at Bivol. So now the freight train is going straight ahead, and the next stop is Joe Smith Jr. or Beterbiev. That's the next stop.
We know that's not the case, Hayam. We know that's not the case.
Just give me 1 second. Just give me 1 second. If you are David Benavidez, you need to be on that freight train. You need to be a part of that freight train.
Listen, I'm with you, but this is the thing. This the thing. We know what the next 2 fights are. We know what they are.
Yes.
It's Bivol and Golovkin. Now, I'm not disagreeing that he should target the Joe Smith Jr. fight. Look, you can try. You can try. But I'm telling you, he wouldn't get it, bro. He's not. No, he wouldn't get it.
I think he would get it. Why
I got 2 questions. I got a question for the
There's too many problems, bro. There's way too many problems.
I got a question for the panel. I got 2
questions. Will get
stopped. I got 2 questions. What's a bigger fight, Zerto versus Benavidez or Zerto versus Smith? I mean, Benavidez versus Smith.
Come on.
My God.
Say that again.
Listen. The Mexican boxing gods themselves will come down from the clouds for that fight, and I am not kidding.
Which fight? I didn't understand.
Benavidez versus Ramirez.
And then doesn't Zerto have a number 1 spot in the WBA ranking?
Yeah, but listen,
that fight, I wasn't done. Put that fight on a Friday before Cinco de Mayo or Friday before Mexican Independence Day. You're not listening, Hayam, in the sense that Canelo fought Chavez Jr. and Chavez Jr. didn't have a belt. He was Mexican.
I know. That was huge.
Listen,
they like the British. They come out. They people.
What I'm asking is,
people will die, bro. If that fight got made, people gonna be dying watching that shit. Because motherfucker, look, listen. I'm gonna say this, and I know this in my foot. Zerto ain't shit, bro. Watch his yo. He ain't shit. Benavidez could take him. He could take him. You know what I mean?
It's a waste of novela, bro.
Let me paint the picture again. The winner of that fight in a war on a Mexican holiday in the ring saying in Spanish, calling Canelo a puto and calling him out in front of all the Mexicans. Come on, man. It's not hard to make.
That's amazing.
It's the perfect weapon, bro. Like look, I'm telling you, and look, that's not being idealistic. That is realistic. If they fought after that fight is over, after the motherfucker laid out,
that's great. They
giving them the smelling salt. All them people that's there, B, and that wave and that energy, like, yo, Canelo, stop being a fucking puto, bro. Stop running from me. Yo, they won't let Canelo live it down.
Yes.
They won't.
Can I just say one thing real quick? I was talking from a Benavidez perspective. I wasn't talking from an overall boxing perspective. From a Benavidez perspective, the Zurdo fight is not the fight for him. The Zurdo fight is a good fight, makes money, is great, whatever. The Joe Smith Jr. fight is the fight for Benavidez if you are focusing your mind on being successful. That's the fight for him.
But Jaime, you just said it was the fight for him if he wants to get. You said it was the fight for him if he wants to get Canelo.
Yes,
now it's success.
Canelo is the success.
Zurdo will get him.
Canelo is the success.
Zurdo will get him Canelo.
Listen. I'm trying to tell
the Joe Smith Jr. fight will guarantee him a Canelo fight.
Listen, no, it won't. You don't know. So? Listen, Chaim, we don't know we don't know what the third fight is going to be. We know the two fights.
Yeah, we know.
We know the two, Bivol. We already know that. We don't know where the third fight is going to be at. We don't know what weight. They talking about Makabu and John Ryder, bro. That's what they talking about. So, and I don't even think like, bro, John Ryder.
But that's not what history shows you, though.
All I'm saying is you got one thing on Canelo that you could use against him. One thing, and that's his pride. That's his pride. He never had.
You got another thing.
He never had to fight Lara. He never. What got Lara to fight?
I hear you, but you got a second thing. You got a second thing you could use against Canelo. The second thing you could use against Canelo is his drive for legacy. He always wants to drive towards legacy. I don't know
if he's going to shoot for that belt. That I'm saying this, and I'm gonna come. Listen, I'm gonna come right out and say it because I got you after this. We don't know that he's gonna go on an undisputed run at 175. We don't know that. We
don't know it for sure. He said that he like it, whatever, but
But he could go. Look. He about to fight 175. I'm gonna pass it to JBN after this, right? About to fight for a belt at 175. Cool. But look at what the move is after that. He moving down. After that.
I know, but Julius, you got to also look at the timing. Remember, you said timing is everything. You always said timing matters, right? So now, check it out. Just so happens that he's going to fight Bivol when Beterbiev and Joe Smith already called a fight. That's 3 belts in one fighter. That's 3 belts in one fighter, and he's fighting the only other fighter. So come on, man. It makes sense that he would just fight the next fighter and get all the belts undisputed. That's an easy fight.
Now hold on. See, this is what messes up that vision, though. This is what messes up that vision. You talking about a 2 to 3 fight deal that starts with a fight at 75, right? It starts with a fight at 75.
Goes down to 168.
Then it goes to 68. If it was all about, well, I want to be undisputed at 75, then it ain't going to be no trip to 168. We wouldn't even be hearing about Makabu, but we are.
No, but the 168 fight is a big money fight. You know what the 168 fight is. They still
talking about Makabu, though, bro.
He's going to catch Makabu on the slip tip after he fight one more fight. Because think about it. I always thought, I wanted to say this, I thought he don't fight Triple G in the second fight. He got the negotiating power to do that. I don't think he fights Triple G in the second fight, in the third fight. I think the second fight of the contract. I think he fights Bivol, takes the belt, and looks for Joe Smith Jr. and Beterbiev. But then the Ukraine shit came in, so now he has to fight Triple G, give it a
And
little
I'm
bit
gonna
of
say
time, and
this.
then he automatically goes and fights Joe Smith Jr. versus Beterbiev winner, and he becomes undisputed at 175.
Let me add this, then I want to pass it to JBN. I believe that in order to reach the deal, Golovkin was a sticking point. You have to fight him.
Yeah, I think it was too.
I think it was a sticking
Because of
point.
the
Now,
ratings,
because of
for
the
that
pay per
fight.
view. There's pay
Yeah,
per
the
view.
there you
pay-per-views and the
go.
ratings
There
for that
you
fight.
go. Go ahead, JBN.
I agree with you on that.
Go ahead, JBN. All right, I'm gonna pass it. I'm gonna pass it to Country. Country.
Oh, sorry. I had my mic off. That's it.
All right.
I agree that the Zurdo Ramirez is the fight to go because one, why is he fighting Triple G again? Because Triple G has his own market value that'll make the fight bigger. Yeah. That will give. Benavidez beating Zurdo will give him a lot of market value. Why did Canelo fight Triple G in the first place? Because somehow Triple G won the hearts of Mexicans. Mm-hmm. Mexicans were telling him all in every single interview and every comment, why aren't you fighting Triple G? Why aren't you fighting this guy? So that's
remember that everybody and all Canelo's Instagram posts, everybody kept putting GGG for like a year.
My God, this is what I mean.
That
it was the pressure.
It'll give him that clout.
It was the pressure that, like, yo, they wasn't for a year. Canelo could not sleep without hearing that man's name. He had to take care of that shit. You got to do that again. The situation now is you got fragmented fans asking you to fight a different guy every other day. You got Charlo fans want him to fight Charlo. Andre fans want him to fight Andre. Benavidez fans. It's not one guy anymore. But if you could take out the competition, like, yo, you know what? Fuck Canelo. I'm going to do my own thing. I'm going to fight Zurdo, bro, and I'm going to fuck him up. If I could do that, fuck these guys, bro. I'm going to jump ahead in the queue just because of the pride. Just because of the pride.
I think one thing we're missing
fight to make because
one thing we're missing in this is Joe Smith wants that payday too. So why is he going to fuck with Benavidez?
That's the main thing that, like, I can't see.
That don't make sense.
You know what the shit is, Chaim? I can't see I can't see Joe Smith that he just going to do that for the sake of doing that. That's what fuck it up. Like, Joe DeGuardia not just going, like, what the fuck are we giving David Benavidez a title shot for what? He ain't even on mandatory. The fuck?
I do see what you're saying. I agree with you.
And then
because it doesn't really make sense for Joe Smith Jr. perspective. But for David Benavidez perspective, everybody's talking about how Charlo, Andre, David Benavidez needs to fight somebody and need to do something with their lives, which they're correct. I think David Benavidez needs to be completely focused on Joe Smith Jr. He needs to jump ahead of the queue before Canelo freight train gets there and fight Joe Smith Jr. and beat him and take his belt and take his spot so that he could be in position when the freight train gets there.
I'm telling you that he won't look. Zurdo,
are you saying that he won't get the fight because
I'm telling
Joe Smith Jr. won't fight him? But Joe Smith Jr. got nobody else to fight, and it's a good fight.
That's
Zurdo's a more makeable fight though, because I'm pretty sure Zurdo knows also that he has a good chance of beating Benavidez, and Zurdo knows that if he beats Benavidez, he will be the one that Mexicans will be antagonizing. So both of them
you're correct about that.
That is
Joe Smith and Benavidez is not a pay-per-view fight. Benavidez and Ramirez is a pay-per-view fight.
Yes, it is. That's
you're correct. You're correct. You're correct because that's two Mexicans versus. But what I'm saying is, from the Benavidez perspective, I'm not talking about from everybody else.
No, I know what you mean, but this is the problem,
you
right?
Understand what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying, and there you go. Now I'm about to say the shit. That's how you know I'm about to say some shit. You focusing on what works for Benavidez. Yes, that's ideal for Benavidez. The reason it won't happen is because it don't make no sense for Smith at all. It makes no sense for Smith. They're not just going to do that.
You're correct.
They're not going, and that's what I'm telling you. No matter what, Joe DeGuardia and Smith, they're going to be like, bro, why the fuck would we give him a title shot? What the fuck do we get out of that? Nothing. We don't get nothing out of that. What were we just going to do him a favor? Nah, it won't happen.
And Zurdo has something to gain out of that fight too, so that's why he'll do it.
Now,
Both of them have something to gain out of that
Plus, you
fight.
think Anthony Yard will allow that too? He wants his shot.
exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jay. That Anthony is the mandatory. It ain't like you could just skip him. He the mandatory. You can't just skip him. Now I want to shift the gears a little bit. I'm glad that somebody said it in the comments. One foot out the door said, "Is this PBC's last year on Fox?" Yes, I believe it is, because you'll notice that Spence versus Ugas is on Showtime. It's not on Fox. It's not on Fox. What that tells me is, you notice that the fights that did end up on Fox is the inexpensive fights, like Ruiz versus Areola, like Thurman versus Barrios, fights where the operational cost of the fight is very low. Whereas for Spence and Ugas, well, yeah, that's a multi-million-dollar fight, takes multi-millions to make it. You'll notice that those fights is going to Showtime. Canelo versus Plant went to Showtime. Spence versus Ugas went to Showtime. That tell me that Fox not trying to spend no money. They're not trying to spend no money.
So you saying that Benavidez versus Joe Smith Jr., you don't think there's no place for that to make a little bit of money?
No, I mean, I'll tell you what, that's not a pay-per-view. I'll tell you that.
It's not a pay-per-view, but if in the meantime you Canelo making his moves or whatever, and Beterbiev fight been thrown. Now looking at it from Joe Smith perspective, isn't that like the best fight he could make right now for himself? Or are you saying, or are you saying that he
I'll
has
say
to fight
this.
Zurdo?
I'll say this, right? This is what I say. Right now, because you talking about right now, we ain't talking about 2-3 fights from now. We talking about right now. He gets identical money for Yard in the UK that he would get for Benavidez in America. And that's if Benavidez could even get out of his contract. We don't know that he could do that. That's the first obstacle. None of that other shit happens if he can't get away from Sampson. So that's why it's kind of like a redundancy. Like for us to entertain this, he would have to be able to get away from Sampson first and foremost. And we don't know that he can.
We know, I can't believe David. I hope he doesn't trust Sampson to uphold fiduciary duties when Sampson's talking to Al Heyman in private, because clearly he's not.
Clearly he's not. When you pricing your fighter out of the best fight right now, believe it or not, right? For example, I firmly believe Eddie Hearn will pay more. Eddie Hearn will pay David more to fight Andre than Bob will pay him to fight fucking Joe. You think Joe gonna break the bank for Benavidez? No.
Eddie Hearn's smart. He would put that Benavidez Andre the day before a Canelo fight on a Friday.
Exactly. The main shit is, look, I'm telling you right now, if he was to take up Eddie Hearn on his offer, I believe that the Eddie Hearn offer is something to the tune of $2 to $3 million. That's what I believe he's willing to give David for that fight. What I believe he's willing to give Andre is around 1.5 to 2. That's what I believe. This is just me guessing, right? Because I know that that's not a $7-8 million fight. It's not. That fight don't generate that. It don't. But
see, this is what I heard Leo say about these PBC fighters, right? That they're like cryptocurrency. You have your influencers that hype them up to inflate the currency, the value of it, right? And then you hear about them cashing out. So you're basically morally bankrupt, or bankrupting the fans of hard-earned money, to pay for pay-per-views that are basically showcase fights. And then you're gonna lose trust by doing it over and over again, by pricing yourself out. You're basically betting against your own product.
Put it this way. Benavidez is a former champion that is unbeaten. Mikey Garcia was given something to the tune of $1.5 million to fight Sandor Martin, right?
Martin, baby.
Right? So when you think about what they just gave Mikey, who was coming off a layoff and all that shit, I'm like, Eddie would give David at least 2 to 3. I think at least 2 to 3 for the Andre fight. And for Andre, well, it's a risky fight. You got to pay him like it's a risky fight. So I'm thinking 1.5 to 2, maybe 2.5, just something like that. You're looking at a $5 million pot. I think it's a $5 million pot. And I'm telling you right now, ain't no motherfucking way in hell Bob Arum gonna pay David Benavidez 2, 3, 4 million. No way, bro.
At all.
Hell no.
I think
They had-
Anthony Yarde to get a fight before Benavidez, to fight Zerto, man.
Of course. Well, not even Zerto to fight Smith because he's his mandatory. Like he
Right.
already
That's
in
true.
position.
Yeah.
He already in, like that. That's why the whole scenario it won't happen, bro. You got to get away from Simpson, then skip it, then hope that Bob want to deal with you. Then you got to skip Anthony Yarde. Then you got to hope that Joe willing to do it. It won't happen.
Too many
One of the
obstacles.
guys
Too many
from the
Bro,
comments
it's
said
like
that
so-
Bob would
it's
offer
like
him
Shawshank
800K
Redemption.
from Popeyes.
That
That's
shit
funny.
won't happen, bro. It's too many.
I mean, because
You just expressed Shawshank.
Jules, quick question. I mean, about these PBC fight, like guys like Jamal, David, and Caleb. Do they all have different promoters? Or
Yes. For example, Joe Smith Jr. Joe Smith Jr. is co-promoted. He's really a Joe DeGuardia fighter. He's been a Joe DeGuardia fighter. He's been with Joe since before the Top Rank. Like he been with Joe.
Yeah.
So that's his promoter. But obviously he's being co-promoted by Top Rank, which is why we see him on ESPN. When it comes to Charlo, the situation is a little bit more murky because they have a dummy company called Lions Only, but Lions Only don't have cards. Lions Only. Seen the Lions Only card?
It's kind of like,
bro. I have never
it's
seen
kinda
a
like,
man down card ever.
It's kind of like Bob Squad promotions too, as well. Also,
Think about it
Officer down
like
promotions.
Think
I
about
mean,
it like this.
the
It's
thing-
Rockefeller and Def Jam. They be Rockefeller and PBC's Def Jam. They're subsidiary label.
It's a subsidiary. Like it's not a real company that stages its own shows and has its own budget with its own fighters, its own network or platform. There ain't none of that going on. Really, what it is Tom Brown. If you want to know who the fucking promoter is, go to BoxRec, go to events, look at promoter, and there it is.
The problem is, David, it makes perfect sense. It's so clear, but that's why it won't happen. Benavidez needs to go to Oscar, like, hey, Oscar, help me get out this fucking deal, whatever. Oscar promoting him and Zerto, his hate for Canelo. Like, it's clear as day. The vision's there.
Yeah.
It's just David needs to slap Sampson and go get with Oscar.
David won't do it. David's not going to do it. I mean,
he's not going to do it. He's not going to do it. He's not going to do it.
Here's what. Can I talk about?
It's like, I mean, one second, Chris. I think the thing is, like, I think these PBC fighters, like, they can't be. I know we know they're dumb, but they can't be that stupid to realize that they're not being taken advantage of.
Well, look. This is before I pass it to Chris. You got to understand that this is not a regular job. Everything that you're doing in this sport is shit that you got to want to do that. You got to want to be the best. You got to want to beat the shit out the other guy. That's what make you go to the gym. But with those guys, they don't really want that. The only reason they even calling out Canelo is for the bag, not because they think they going to beat him.
They just want to get paid. That's it.
That's it.
Or this is what I think why these PBC fighters won't go. Yeah, I think they got something over them, bro. I think they got something.
They put the battery on their back, man. That's all it is, man.
It's not that they got the battery on their back. I think these guys have something.
That's what
that
it is.
I thought it was brainwashing.
So it's always like, oh, you got to say Al Heyman's name every time you.
Yeah, they got some all right. They got their money on them. That's why they
It's not even that. I think these guys have really done something that now you're a slave to them, because we all say this: these people can't be that asinine and that daft to think,
if you get them early, they can. If you get them early, they could be that daft. You know why? Because what you agreed to years ago before you knew the business.
But Floyd figured that out, and what he do? He got out of that contract. So these guys have to get out of that contract.
My brother, but Floyd got out of that contract and got into another 360 with Heyman, bro. Come on.
Yeah,
Floyd would have been better off staying with Jay Prince and Bob.
Listen. I'm gonna put it another way, right? Whatever they agreed to years ago, and it's still not up. Like, it's not like, when Matchroom announces that they signed a fighter, you'll hear the extent of the deal. Maybe it's a multi-fight deal or a multi-year deal that has an expiration date. When the fuck have you ever heard that Benavidez renewed his contract with the PBC or Charlo renewed? You ain't got to renew it because the fucking deal is like a lifelong 360 deal. Like, what is
Look
that?
at Danny Jacobs, though. Look at
Al
Danny
Heyman.
Jacobs.
Jacobs didn't hire him he had him an advisor, not a manager. The
Yeah.
thing, Al Heyman's got them signing music contract type deals, and Floyd exposed itself like 2 weeks ago when Jules did that video where Floyd says, "I still haven't got money from fights that happened years ago," and that lets me know, oh, Al has carte
paying them in
blanche over all
increments.
the money and can do what he wants with it and reinvest it and reallocate it.
He's paying these guys in increments. Now I know for a motherfucking fact that you can't be happy that you don't get to get your whole purse like everybody else. So motherfucking Matchroom, he gonna get his purse, bro. His whole purse or whatever. He gonna pay who he gotta pay, but you gonna get your purse. You gonna get what the fuck you supposed to get.
And just like this, Floyd just happens to be the one getting the biggest allowance.
That's it.
That's it.
That's literally it. Well,
you know what's crazy, bro? Deontay Wilder allowed Al Heyman to say, "Yo, that $120 million is Floyd's camp money." Do you believe that shit? Like, let me
bro, Chris, I still can't believe it to this day, bro.
Yo, let me show you. You believe that shit?
Dog,
really?
you know how much money he made Wilder turn down? 100 from the zone, 120 from the zone, and 50 from Rock Nation. He almost cost him damn near $250 million.
Let me say this. Nobody say nothing. Listen, man. What he got is a bunch of country bumpkin, rube ass motherfuckers. And he get them with
not
the loyal.
Not rube.
He get them with the. He get them with the loyalty shit. And look what I did. Like, it's so easy to see what the swindle is. Like, all you do is name drop Floyd a couple of times, and these goofy motherfuckers don't like, bro. When have you made another Floyd? And for starters, you didn't even make Floyd. Bob made Floyd. Floyd is talented in all.
Julius, I gotta ask you, since when was dick riding ever cool?
Oh man, I don't know. This
generation.
And here's how
talking about Floyd.
Here's how this pitch went.
Hey, all right, hold on. We got Richard Lucetto in the building. Richard, go ahead. You ain't got the chance to talk yet. Go ahead, Rich.
Hey, talking about Bob Arum, didn't he try to sign David Benavidez a few years back? But something happened that he was still contract obligated with Samson, and he threatened to do some legal action or something like that.
I'm gonna tell you exactly what happened, Richard. They gave him a cash advance, and they were about to sign him, but then the people at PBC pulled him back, so he had to give the cash advance back. He did try to leave, but that's why I say what I say. That I'm like, yo, dog, these dudes don't have the liberty to do whatever they want, because look at what happened when David tried to leave. They literally pulled him back, and he had to give Bob, what was it, like $300,000 they gave him? He had to give that shit back. He couldn't leave.
This is what Al Heyman sold them on a dream. He's like, this is going to be a black-owned boxing outfit. You're going to leave Oscar. We're going to do you guys right, not like these other things. And that's how he swindled them. And that's the way it went. And he sold them a dream like he sold Arum and them a dream. Heyman's a slick talker. He convinced Arum to put up all that money too, and said they was going to do 2 million pay-per-view buys. He's not dumb, but he's fucking Einstein around these idiots.
Who's worse, Al Heyman or Don King? Because at the end of the day,
Don King at least put on big fucking fights and fucking.
It depends. It depends on what you're talking about. Who's better for boxing? Don King. Who's better for box? Well, I can't sit here and say with a straight face. It's not even that. It's that Al Heyman fuck guys out of money. He fuck you out of money though. He'll fuck up your papers. So is he good for the boxers? You know what people used to say? That Al Heyman's good for boxing, but he's not. No, that Al Heyman's good for boxers, but he's not good for boxing. I can't say that. You fucked up Luis Ortiz's paper. You fucked up Adam Kovnowski's paper.
Go back to when Heyman was fucking with Kerry Davis at HBO, and he fucked it all up over there. Heyman fucked the sport up.
Yo, I need 3 hands to count how much paper he done fucked up for fighters, bro. You fucked up paper for Charlo with Andre. You fucked up paper for Wilder with AJ. You fucked up paper for Kovnowski with AJ. You fucked up paper for Ortiz with AJ. You know what I'm saying? You fucked up. Who else? Who else? Shit, paper for Davis with Farmer, bro. Like you can't let him fight Tevin Farmer.
And don't forget Adrian Broner with Rock Nation.
Yeah, I would know. It was both. It was a bunch of guys they wanted to sign Rock Nation. Hey, Jules, do you think he gets them out of those fights because any money outside they get to keep up front, and they're gonna be like, "Damn, that's a $5 million check up
Yeah, he
front."
can't. Listen.
Where my money at,
It's a
Al?
prison, man.
Listen. He. That's exactly why he controls the money that they make, so long as the money is made at the PBC. The perfect example is Adrian Broner was offered the Manny Pacquiao fight by Top Rank in 2015. He rejected it. They offered him $3 million, something like $3 million up front with a share of the pay-per-view upside. Fast forward when Manny joins PBC. Oh, now they let him have the fight. But now he's complaining about the money. With Top Rank, you would have got your money. But with PBC, you over here, you crying broke every other day, telling Al to give you your money. It's not a coincidence, man. Come on. It's not a coincidence. They offered Danny Garcia to fight. He didn't take it. They offered Broner to fight. He didn't take it. It's not a coincidence, man.
Rock Nation wanted to sign Wilder, Thurman, Spence, Garcia, Broner, and someone else. Wanted to sign 6 or 7 guys, and at $50 million guaranteed for like 6 fights.
And due fairness, though, look what Rock Nation did to Demetrius Andrade career. There's a reason why Charlo won't fight him because of what Rock Nation did.
Yeah, but that's a stupid look. This
I feel you, it's stupid, but hey,
yeah,
Rock
but
Nation.
No, listen. In other words, the reason that's being given is fucking dumb, bro. You don't like a motherfucker, so you won't fight him. That don't make sense.
Think about it. When he pulled out, that was a week before the fight, and they probably
It
lost
don't
money.
matter. It don't matter. Your brother got offered 7 M's. What the fight that you talking about wasn't even worth a M.
Right.
It wasn't worth a M. You talking about the Mel Charlo fight? That fight was only worth a couple $100,000. Your brother got offered couple mil.
That's
that don't make no sense nowhere on this planet.
But I'm saying this: Rock Nation, I ain't gonna lie to you, don't make stars. Rock Nation had Dusty Harrison. What they do with them? Rock Nation had a whole bunch of dudes. What they do with them?
In other words, you like Rock Nation is defunct. It ain't even about Rock Nation. It's more along the lines of, look, in 2018, you was offered $7 million to fight Andre. That whole fucking fight ain't worth $7 million, or it wasn't, but they was willing to give you that, and you gonna let Al fuck up your paper.
I mean, let's say if Charlo was gonna make that much, how much would Demetrius have gotten?
Demetrius probably would have got 5 or something like that, being real with you.
See?
Probably would have got 5 or something like that. And how do you know that they meant business? Didn't Mikey make $7 million with them? Didn't Andy Ruiz make like $6-7 million for the Joshua fight?
Rigondeaux made money too.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's not complicated. Like they got people that want you to believe or wanted you to believe that the money wasn't real. All right, then why was Mikey over there? If the money was so real at the PBC, he would have stayed at the PBC right after the Spence fight. Where he went? The Metro.
Y'all remember like a long time ago that Deontay Wilder, it was an article in Boxing. He came out saying that he was a free agent, and he pretty much gave like a long, like overblown statement saying, like, talking about Joshua and Fury, talking about like, they talk about they take orders, I don't, and he pretty much just stayed out. I mean, that like what I got from that whole speech, every time he was talking, I mean just the record. What I got from that whole speech is like, wait a minute, he's really talking about himself,
bro. That's look. Yo, look, Wilder's a puppet, man, and I don't even get, because it's like, we had all those conversations from 2017 to 2019 and 20. We had all them. It's like he irrelevant now. That man is about to retire. He don't even matter. He is a cautionary tale for them. Like what I see is, look, man, you made decent money. It's the truth. $30 million from the second Fury fight. That is good money. $20 million for the third fight. That's good money, but you could have made more than that with Anthony Joshua. You could have, and they.
and you let out fuck you out of it.
Ain't nothing else need to be said. That's why I'm like, yo, look, we beating a dead horse. We beating a dead horse when it comes to those guys. It's obvious what's going on, which is what makes that entire scenario of David Benavidez just wriggling his way out of the contract. Who does that at the PBC? Wriggle their way out the contract. Then you got to go to Bob. Then hope that Bob will fuck with you. Then after that, you got to hope that Joe DeGuardia and Joe Smith. It's like it'll never happen, bro.
Then you got to hope that Anthony will step aside as well. Don't forget it's too much. It's too much obstacles. It's too much roadblocks.
That shit is a gauntlet. Like none of that shit have happened, bro.
I don't have any issues with the fight. I mean, like I don't
got no issues with the fight if it can happen, but I'm just like, yo, being real, it won't happen.
Nah. Too much that can go wrong. Too much.
The Zerto fight isn't even 100% possible. It's a more easier fight to make, but it's not even like a guarantee. Also,
Benavidez came out and said that, I want Charlo. I mean, I'm sure he knows what Samson Luka was. I'm sure he knows the shit he pulled, and I'm sure he can't be happy about that. The question is, if you're not, what are you going to do about it?
The question is, what can he do about it?
Can he do anything about it at all? Could he just be quiet?
Listen.
Because you remember
this is the forecast. This is the forecast, right? Charlo gonna fight somebody, maybe Caleb Truax. Benavidez will fight Lemieux, and then he won't fight the rest of this year because they can't afford to pay these guys.
You neither with Charlo. He's gonna set out too. He'll probably fight once again this year too.
Probably. Both of them will fight once. Why Charlo only fought once all of last year? Why? If Fox is leaving, now imagine this. If this is the last year that Fox is going to deal with the PBC, that means you ain't even going to get no bread from them. So it's all on Showtime. And what, these Showtime is going to pay for y'all to fight 2-3 times? No, they're not going to pay for that. They're not going to pay for that, bro. They already throwing money on Spence versus Ugas. It's like,
it's like one thing I always like recall to back to as well is like why I think Jamal is a 5-star jackass. Is how like is when he came out talking about like, oh yeah, Eddie, send me that offer for the Demetrius Andre fight. So Eddie sends you the offer by email. Then you get on social media high, drunk, or whatever the hell you was on, talking about like, oh yeah, man, fuck Eddie, you doing all that dumb shit. Fuck it, oh yeah, you call out all this bullshit. I'm like, bro, wait a minute. You said that he sends you an offer. He does.
Yo, Jay, I hate the biggest bitch.
Listen, this the shit. Hold on, listen, this the shit. Charlo went out his way to say that he is own boss, right? You your own boss. So he sent you an offer. And what you do, send them to somebody. Like, bro, what the fuck, bro? Like, do you want the offer? Do you not want the offer? Because if you want the offer, you go to Al and you say, Al, I want the offer. What's the problem? Why you playing phone tag? Why you playing phone tag?
I mean, if you tell him, dude, like, if you tell Eddie to send you an offer, but then you tell him to talk that was obvious to everyone that you're not your own boss then, right?
Basically. I'm sorry, but it's logic for capitalism, and they have to explore the market, or else it's not going to be profitable. How the hell are you going to build fucking profit by putting on like bullshit ass fights?
Listen, all them dudes is old avocados, bro. That motherfuckers left on the breakfast bar. It's a wrap, bro. You the crop done gone bad, and Benavidez.
You gotta have to scrape it off the table.
Do we put in the guacamole though, or no?
Yeah, they could be stepping stones for David Morrell, if that's what you mean. They could be.
I ain't gonna hold you. I'm telling you this now. David Morrell.
It's funny you mentioned that.
Shit out of fucking David Benavidez. You heard it here first. Morrell will beat the living shit out of him.
What I'm saying that if we look at them as produce, yo, y'all cats is a crop that went bad. The most that you could hope to do now is the young fighters that you got, that you trying to build, feed them motherfuckers to them, bro. Feed them. But what happened? What did David Benavidez's daddy say? Nah, we need 5 fights before we fight Morrell. Bro, in 5 fights, you gonna be a light heavyweight.
But Morrell's got 7 fights. What the hell? Like,
make it make sense. Make it make sense.
Like this. I'm happy that Boots didn't sign with the PBC. Boots needs to stay with Showtime and not play them games with these dudes, because Boots should see that, yo, if I sign with them, my career is going to be just like them. And Jaron Ennis is a star, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, Chris, he fights on the network. So, like, is that an indication that he will? You guys think?
But at the end of the day, with their mindset, that hood mentality, they gonna fuck themselves over. As great as they are, they're self-destructive. So what can we do?
Listen, the welterweight division is set to be a dud for a while. Why? Who's the up and coming welterweights? A guy that ain't nobody gonna fight. Ain't nobody just gonna fight Boots. There ain't nobody just. Thurman ain't not just, I'm gonna just fight Boots. No, you not, bro.
Well, that's why he's lining himself up for a title shot, because anybody gonna give him a shot.
Danny Garcia done sat out for a year since we 2 months into 2022, and the last time he fought was December of 2020. This is the welterweight division, bro.
Jules Danny is semi-retired, if not retired.
Yeah. and on that note, I'm fucking sleepy. I gotta go to sleep.
All right, man.
Hey, Jules, one day before you go, we doing a live thing for the Jose's tomorrow?
We might.
Come on, man. We got to do it, man. That's gonna be a good one.
We might.
All right,
Good night, guys.
Julius, have a good night, brother. Thank you for having me on, man.
No problem.